Hey, welcome to Deep in the Heart of Tailgate. This is the University Stars Tailgate Show where we talk about Texas State and Texas State athletics. My name is Jakob Rodriguez. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Star, and he's the Texas State Sports Prez. Today, we're going to talk about Troy, Texas State. It's happening this Saturday at 2:30. Sorry to all you tailgaters who show up at 5 for a 6 o'clock kickoff. It's just not going to happen this week. Here we go. All right, so last week we played South Alabama. Pretty decent game. Finished,
Well, yeah, it ended on a South Alabama missed field goal.
Ended on a South Alabama missed field goal. The world lost their mind.
Yeah, no, if you have heart conditions, you don't need to be watching Texas State football.
I don't think so, no. What'd you call them? The cardiac cats.
Cardiac cats, but that was for baseball, and it was for them continuing to win, like, close games. This team, year in and year out, has broken our hearts. So, look, South Alabama was probably the worst team we were going to face the rest of the schedule. So part of me is very happy that it came down to Texas State winning that game on a field goal in a pretty close game. Part of me is like, that game probably shouldn't have been a last-second 30-28 win. It probably should have been, a little bit lower scoring on their side of the coin. And Spavital talked about it this week, saying that the offense kind of bailed the defense out a couple times, which is the first time I can remember that happening in the last 4 years.
No, yeah, I think you're right. And I think they also did a couple different things, too. We saw a lot of, pass options to the running backs to open up the running game itself, too, which, we saw Hill just had a game itself. And in the place of Caleb Twyford, who's kind of like the de facto running back now. So a lot of different things for Texas State, but a lot of kind of the same things. And maybe South Alabama should have done a better job of defending that.
So my question is that do you put a lot of stock in this? If you had to buy stock in this team, are you starting now to say, okay, I'll buy some stock in the offense?
We were 100% supposed to lose that game. What are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
No, 28-yard field goal. Who misses that?
So, because my problem is right now is that do you take the naive look at it or the kind of the easier approach and say, well, the offense is finally starting to click. The next 3 games are the hardest games on the schedule for the Bobcats. I don't think that's a secret. That between Troy and App State, these are going to be tough games. Do you say now, hey, the offense is good enough, we're good to go, we can start trusting them a little bit more? Or are you show me a little bit more?
I think to your point, yeah, we can start trusting them more, or at least not totally close our eyes every time they take the field, knowing that they're just going to hit 3 and out, and then we're going to see the special teams unit come out again. This time, they actually did get to extend possessions a lot, and they kind of capitalized on turnovers too. So not terrible, I guess, but still, when the defense doesn't show up or is having more trouble, still very scary scenario.
So we'll talk about Tyler Vitt later when we're kind of highlighting what we expect from this game, but he did have a monster game.
He had a monster
Saturday.
game, and just proving that I have the best picks in college football ever.
You've gotten consistently lucky between the college football picks, putting your wagon on Vitt, because Vitt's not the starter if Gresh doesn't get a concussion.
He's the starter now.
He's the starter now.
You think they're going to bring Gresh back? I don't think so.
No. At this point, no, I don't think so. But, if he doesn't get the concussion, I don't think we see Vitt for the rest of the season. I think we get, not a red shirt, but I don't think that he gets as many reps as he's gotten. And then last night for the basketball game, you got lucky, just throwing a number out there and getting the closest.
I just know this team. I have a pulse on all of the sports teams at Texas
You
State.
are, because Disney Plus just came out.
I'll tell you what they got right now.
Disney Plus just came out, so we're going to make a Simpsons reference. You're Dr. Nick. You don't know what you're doing, but you continue to get lucky in the operating room.
I don't think I'm lucky. That's skill.
What
did Yoda
lucky.
say? Another Disney reference.
Yeah, I don't care. You ready to talk about this Troy game?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just throw some statistics out to you, Andrew.
Radio, love it.
Just number radio. Texas State is getting outscored 119 points right now on the season. Not great.
You think they're going to close that gap in the next 3 games?
They might. It might be a couple 50-point games coming our way. They're currently averaging about 17.8 points per game. And right now on the season, we have 34 points just coming strictly from turnovers. So those are 3 probably biggest stats to just see where this team is going. And it's not looking great, but it's also not the end of the world, I think.
Wow, so we're kind of right on the fence again about this.
Right on the fence again.
Look, if you're going to pick a side on this, I think the offense has been trending in the correct direction. I don't think that you can look at this team and say, hey, there's no progress from last year to this year. It's been slow, if you're, a parent and you want your kid to walk like the second day that they're on this earth, you're probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
That, I think, is kind of where this offense is that, like, it's starting to toddle, it's starting to be able to walk on its own, but we're still kind of having to lean on the screen passes and the 3rd and 5, let's run the ball up the middle because we don't have a trusted wide receiver. It's a process. And I think that after an entire offseason with Spav, now you're going to get your second full offseason, or kind of halfway full offseasons with Spav. You're going to see probably progress next year, right? Like, I think we're a year out from being a year out.
Well, cats always walk on the fence line,
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about this on our critically acclaimed podcast. But there's like 3, legs on this stool. The shortest leg by far and away was special teams, and that is now one of the strongest units on our team.
How worried are you that Joshua Rowland, this is his senior day too?
Yeah, this is his senior day too. I mean, I think we just needed a leader in there, and we just needed to know what special teams was and how valuable they can be to us down the stretch.
It is so nice, and this isn't a shot at James Sherman, but it's so nice that you can go into every game kind of anticipating or just expecting that your kicker is going to make a field goal or make an extra point. Like, I'm not on the edge of my seat every single time that we need to score some points. Right? Like, that is a relief, I think, just in itself.
Yeah. And then the defense, we knew going into this season that was going to be, the everyday person that we can be like, okay, we're good. We don't have to really stress too much about that. We can hold bigger teams to a lot less than people would have thought earlier, And, I think everybody thought that the offense was going to be the thing that was going to be like, what? Like, we're not going to see like huge bombs down the field. No, like everything comes in phases, And the biggest form of messaging that we've heard from Coach Spavital or any of his members of his staff and the players themselves too is just that we're trying to build something long term here. And that doesn't happen overnight. And that doesn't even happen over the course of like several weeks either. Because we're week 9, 10, 11? It doesn't matter. We're going to see what we get.
So Troy.
All
right. So this is the toughest test, I think, that the offense has had to face in conference play.
Yeah.
They got Caleb Barker, who statistically is the best quarterback in the Sun Belt. He's the highest passer efficiency rating in the conference and the most total yards at 2,918, right? So right around 2,900 yards. This guy is the kind of the deal that makes everything else work. Because they got a good running back in DK Billingsley, who has kind of turned himself into one of the do-everything backs in the Sun Belt. He is the pivot point of this offense, because if they shut down the pass, okay, well now Billingsley's in the backfield, and Barker can really run the ball too. Like, we've seen him kind of scramble a little bit and make some plays. If Texas State's defense doesn't come out and show 100%, like, I get it, senior day, I get it, you're probably going to be a little bit nicked up, a little bit beat up. You need to come with your A+++ game, I think, in this game. Otherwise, Troy's going to jump out pretty quickly.
And you had an interesting take prior to the South Alabama game. We didn't have a show last week, but that's what was said. Shout out Ethan. But you were saying that if we had lost South Alabama, which we were supposed to, but they missed a field goal, so now we're still in bowl contention. That's just how the cookie crumbles. But if we had lost the South Alabama game, that we were probably not going to see a whole lot of, Nick Daniels or Brian London, all these incredible seniors that we're going to miss next year.
Frankie Griffin. And I think that because they were able to win against South Alabama by the skin of the teeth, that you're going to see these players have a big senior day, right? Like, if you're not going to the games to this point, you're missing out. You missed out Jakob coming in third in the homecoming race last week. But, like, this game, senior day, this is the last time you're going to get college football for, 200-something days before the next home game. This is a big deal. Brian London has been hands down a top 2, top 3 college football player for Texas State. I think like David Mayo is clearly the best defensive player. I think Brian London might be second, honestly. And, if you're not going to the games, you're missing out. But this is an important game to go to because London, it's going to be his last home game. Ish Davis, his last home game. Frankie Griffin has been lights out too. And then, of course, our favorite player, Joshua Rowland. It's his last game at Texas State.
The offense is going to be rolling.
The defense is going to be rolling. Joshua Rowland's going to be rolling. Yeah, I love it. But this is a big game for a lot of those guys. You need to be at the game for this.
Get your ball signed.
Yeah. Well,
get your paper signed.
Keep that on the DL, Jacob. Come on, we got to keep that.
Get your jerseys.
Yeah. This is a secret big deal. Is that Carlton Martell, who plays linebacker for the Trojans. And this has been one of those deals that if you're not linked into the Sun Belt Conference, if you're not watching all these games, you might miss this. Brian London has secretly been the most consistent defensive player probably since his sophomore season, I'd say. Where, like, if you're a head coach or a fan, you know that Brian's going to get you about 8.5 to 10 tackles a game. And you don't have to worry about him. He's going to do his job. There's not going to be a lot of misassignments. He is just a straight-up baller, okay? Martell is that guy for Troy. He's a sophomore linebacker. He's got 94 tackles already on the season, total tackles already on the season with 3 games left. So he's going to probably sneak into that 110, 115 area on the season, which is a big deal. He's a solid linebacker who I think is going to take the crown from London once London graduates. He's going to be the most dependable defensive player in the Sun Belt, especially for a linebacker core.
Yeah, and it's especially important when you just think about just what Zach has after, all those guys dip out.
No. This is for Troy.
For Troy?
This is Troy's defensive player. That's what I'm saying.
Don't use that.
That's what I'm saying, Jacob, is that Troy now is going to, I think, have a defensive set core going forward. That this, like, Brian London has been the most dependable player in the Sun Belt Conference, and then Martell is going to be that next wave of guy.
And so last week, I was talking about earlier, they just extended, all possessions too by just, shovel passing to Anthony D. Taylor and to, having Hill go out for a pass too. Do you expect more of that stuff too to open up Hutch and Micah Hill?
So that's good. We're just transitioning right into Texas State. I think that, I really do think that Vitt is going to be, after coming off a game last Saturday where he had almost 400 yards passing, I would assume that Spavital probably opens up the playbook a little bit more. It's the last home game, so if you get down early, say it's like 14-0, there's a chance that you open up the playbook a little bit more. You see, like, let's get a little bit more creative. Let's see what we can do. Let's see who we have.
Let's let Brian London run the ball.
No. let's have Vitt throw the ball a little
right
bit.
Behind Frankie Griffin.
Short passes, mid-range passes, accuracy-wise, we've seen Vitt do okay, about C+, B-. I want to see what he can do just chunking the ball down the field. Like, if the offensive line gives him a couple seconds, how far can this guy throw the ball down the field? And with what accuracy? That is kind of what I'm curious to see from Vitt in this game. I hope that Texas State doesn't get in that position where they're having to throw the ball all over the field, but I'd be curious to see if Spavital can kind of open up the playbook a little bit more and see what he has.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see that too. I really want to win. I also did not bet against this team, though, this week.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I have Troy, so do you.
I have Troy as well. I think Colton McWilliams is the only one who had Texas State winning this game. Which, I mean, I'm looking at this Troy team. They had 3 games that were, I think, one-score games. They lost to Coastal Carolina, which was kind of a fluky game. Southern Mississippi, I want to say, earlier in the season was kind of a fluky game. But they lose these games that are kind of close. So if Texas State can put themselves in that ballpark with a team that probably should be a 7-win team in Troy, if you put yourself in that situation and force their hand, like you did with South Alabama to kick a 28-yard field goal, maybe you get lucky. Maybe like the chips fall your way finally. After, 7 years, it feels like, of Texas State not having the chips fall their way, it'd be nice to finally get a couple good lucky breaks.
And, I mean, Troy is kind of like the Titans of this league too. So
currently in the West, yeah. I would agree with you. Yeah,
I think they also just defeated Goliath too. Like they beat
in App State,
Georgia Southern, who beat App State, who I mean, there's just all these things that have happened, and they're just like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. I don't know. These guys are pretty good.
Yeah, no, Troy, I think for the Western Division of the Sun Belt Conference, probably is one of the better ones. Them and Lafayette, I think, Louisiana. I think those would be the 2 dominant teams. But on the East, it's still App State, and it's kind of. Honestly, at this point, because we only have a few games left, it feels like whoever wins the West is going into a blood match with App State. Because I don't know how close that game is.
You're not buying into Freedom and the Eagles?
No, I don't think so. I think this is our last show, because this is the last home game. I'm going to put it out here. I think App State, sneakily, I know nobody's really talking about this team, App State probably wins the Sun Belt. That's a joke. They're clearly the best team in the Sun Belt Conference.
100% a joke.
Clearly the best team in the Sun Belt Conference. So, this is also the last little thing I have for you before, we're done. Sneakily, this is a secret nobody's talking about. Hutch White is probably top 3 wide receiver right now statistically in the Sun Belt. The other guy is Clayton Geyer, who these are two of the better wide receivers in the Sun Belt Conference statistically. Now, do I think that like Lafayette or App State has probably more athletic or talented wide receivers? Maybe. But Hutch is in that category now, being our go-to wide receiver. So now we have two of the top three statistical wide receivers in the Sun Belt Conference in this game. It's going to be, can Barker get the ball to Geyer? Can Vic get the ball to Hutch? Let's see where these numbers go at the end of this game.
And how locked down is this Bobcat defense? I don't know. I think it'll be a really good game just to see, like, this is how good that whole senior group was on defense.
I hope that this is an exclamation point on this defensive front, because this is, like I said, this between Withers and Francione, they built a pretty good defense. Withers mostly built a pretty solid defense. So if this is like the last time we see a lot of these guys on the field together, I'd really like to have them have an exclamation point.
It's also nice. I mean, you're talking about the Withers era too. The thing that Spavital is doing is just working with pieces that work together, as opposed to trying to make a player fit the mold that you want for the program overall. So I just think that's what they're doing the most, and just playing to their strengths, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. I don't know. Should Texas State upset? I wouldn't really be that mad.
No, I'd be. Yeah,
I'm 25-8, so I have a couple games to spare. You, on the other hand, can't.
I'm 2 games behind you. I'm like 23-10. Like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal.
I don't know. It's a big deal.
You guys think what's your score prediction? I'll give you mine. I think it's going to be 28-24 Troy.
I think it'd be 30-24.
We miss you, Claire.
All right. This has been Deep in the Heart of Tailgate. My name is Jakob Rodriguez. He's Andrew Zimmel, the Texas State Sports Prez. We'll see you, I guess, never.
Next year?
Never?
Basketball, question mark?
Basketball, question mark? We'll see where we end up. Baseball? Cardiac cats? I don't know. This has been Deep in the Heart of Tailgate. See y'all later.